So it's time to go over another week of sales. This is for the first full week of July, starting on the 4th of July all the way through the 10th. Over the holiday weekend, it was pretty quiet, which is what I expected, but I actually had a pretty decent week, especially for the summertime. So we can go over it. It's a lot of fast sales, which was awesome, but I also cleared out quite a few things that were sitting for way too long. So I'm gonna scoot over and go through my sales for this week. I did actually wind up having 3 sales on the actual 4th of July, which I didn't know if I was going to get any. And my first sale was a full price sale on Poshmark. This is from the brand Clara Sun Woo. I have bought this brand a couple times now, but I found it and it does sell well. From what I understand, these pieces are similar to like the Chico's Travelers line. They're made of a fabric that is very like breathable, but also it doesn't wrinkle. So I think that is why people do look for this on the secondhand market, because these pieces are expensive full price. So this was something I had found in the Goodwill bins. It was a black tie front cardigan, and my average cost of goods from this Goodwill bins trip was $1.27 per piece. This one was listed for only 17 days and sold for my full asking price on Poshmark of $30. So I made $22.73 on this little, very basic black tie front cardigan. Next was this smaller sale. This was something my sister-in-law had given me. I don't think I've ever picked up Ted Baker before. This was a white Ted Baker dress, and kind of from my research, this I think was an older style, probably from like the 2010s kind of style, that like almost like bodycon business professional style. It did have a couple little marks on it. I did try getting those marks out and I couldn't. It was a 4 or 6. It was fairly small. This one was listed 66 days and I got a $20 offer on Poshmark, which I did accept. So I made $16 on this dress. Then was another bins find, and this was one Scott had found, so I will give him his credit. This was a robe. It was a maternity and postpartum robe. The brand was called Baby Be Mine. I think it was like 98% cotton. The reason I did grab it is it was new with tags, and it was a women's small medium. Now this didn't have comps like a bamboo robe would have, but the brand seemed, you know, mid-range pricing, and it was new with tags. That's basically all you can ask for as far as when it comes to the bins. I was excited. Like I said, $1.27 into each item. This one was only listed 2 days. I got a lower offer on eBay. I think I countered them back to like $20. I might have only had it listed for $25. And they countered me back to $17, which I did accept. So I made $11.82 on that. Next was an item that had been sitting for so long. This was one my dad had found. It was like he had picked up some free stuff on Facebook Marketplace and this was in it. This was a green Lacoste polo. I don't really get polos from Lacoste, but this one had like more of a large graphic to it. This one had been listed 360 days. However, I had just relisted it. I'm realizing July 5th, I had 0 sales. So I had 3 on the 4th, and then that next day, the Sunday of the holiday weekend, was completely dead. So then everything the rest of this week from this Lacoste polo on is like Monday through Friday. This one I relisted during the weekend. And when I relisted it, I had cross-posted onto Whatnot, and it sold within a day on Whatnot for an offer I received of $25.60, which was awesome. So after 360 days, but 1 day listed on Whatnot, I made $22.14. Now you guys, this is the big one. This is my huge sale. This, I will put a picture here. This is a black Prada belt. My dad found this last month at a thrift shop, and whatever it was, like it had hit the sales price and it was $1.50 at a thrift shop, and he goes, do you want to make a gamble on this one? And he sent me some pictures, and it looked good enough to me in the pictures for the $1.50. So I got it, and then I was afraid to list it for quite a few weeks. And you know, I was taking a lot of pictures. I couldn't really find anything like this specific belt that I could like compare it to. I tried using like AI to like authenticate, and AI was saying it was real, and I was just like, I've never had anything that was authentic Prada that makes me feel comfortable enough listing this still. So I wound up like looking at a bunch of authentication sites, and I wound up using, hold on, let me look, because I want to let you guys know exactly what I used. I wound up using legit Grails because they had one of the cheaper options. Some of the other ones, like the first one I looked at was like, you give us $200 and this is like a credit for your account to authenticate things. And I'm like, I'm not authenticating enough to like set up accounts with like a balance in it. I was like, this is just like kind of a one-time thing for me as of right now, because I don't find a lot of Prada. let's put it that way. So basically like legit Grails had like different tiers. I guess like a fast tier would be like, I'm in a store right now, I need this authenticated right now to know if I should buy it. So that was like a higher price. But I picked the slow price, which was 12 hours, which I didn't think a 12-hour turnaround for an authentication was very slow. And it was $15. And I was like, so if I pay $15 for this and the $1.50, my cost of goods for this belt is $16.50, which for Prada is still a good price. So I paid the $15 and I told my dad and he was like, what do you feel like? And I was like, I really don't know. Like everything is telling me yes, but still I was like, I don't know. Like I'm like looking at the stitching and I'm like, anyway, it was authentic, which was awesome. And they give you a certificate. So I did include the certificate as part of my post to like say like, hey, I've had this authenticated. Anyway, this was listed 11 days and it was getting attention everywhere. Somebody watched it on my eBay and I sent them a 10% off offer. So I had this listed for, I think it was like around 160, maybe, I forget. Anyway, my 10% off offer was for $152.89, which the watcher immediately accepted. This didn't have to go through eBay authentication as far as I could tell. Like it was going straight to the buyer, which I was surprised about. So what I did was I also printed out a copy of my authentication certificate, which has like a QR code on it too. And I included that in my package. That was crazy though. Anyway, this one did not sell promoted, which is probably one of the crazier things about this because everything on my eBay sells promoted. So I didn't have to pay a promotion fee. So after everything, my cost of goods, my authentication, my general eBay fees, I wound up with a profit of $113.71 on this belt. Some of my best sales ever have been belts. I think it is a very overlooked category. And I'll be honest, when I go to a thrift shop, it's really not the place I run to. So there are holy grails in belts. And maybe after this year, and I have like 2 full years of data, maybe I'll make some sort of a belt video because some of my best sales have been belts. Anyway, next I have another bins find. This one was getting, I mean, thousands of views on Depop. It really hit the algorithm fast and it's from Skims. I found this balled up in a little tiny ball in a bin. I really do enjoy the bins. I really enjoy that digging and touching every single piece in the bin. I do not know how people go to the bins and don't touch every single piece. That is just like the most wild thing to me. This was a very general, tiny little ribbed tank top. It had some wear, but really not much. I gave this an oxy soak. She looks sparkling again, but it was such like a basic piece. Like I was like, there's no way this is gonna sell for a lot. I doubt as far as Skims go, this retails for a lot. So like I said, I had $1.27 into each piece. This was listed only 3 days and I was getting a million $10 offers on Depop and eventually one of those $10 offers went through. I made $6.75 and this thing did not even weigh an ounce. So that was like almost free money for me, minus the OxyClean, but I'd rather somebody have it than it wind up in the landfill. Okay, next was something I had bought for myself on Depop and I just didn't love it. This was a new with tags bra from Victoria's Secret. It was a 38D. It had underwire and you know, sometimes I try to like get back into underwire and I'm like, no, this was wrong. So I had $8 into this from Depop. Once I got around to listing it, it was listed 21 days and it sold for my full asking price on eBay of $26.50. So I wound up making $13.01. And I should say, Skims sold boosted on Depop and this one did sell promoted on eBay. Next I have another Depop sale. This is my last Depop sale of the week though. This was from the brand Ecote. I wasn't sure who sold this one because it did have like the general like urban anthro free people tag inside, but Ecote, I think it must be because that's French. It is a Urban Outfitters brand. So because of that, I didn't include urban in the title. I included Ecote. This was such a nice embroidered piece and it had these really big like bat wing sleeves. It was beautiful. As far as like Urban Outfitters pieces go, this was like, that's why I thought it was anthro because of how well the embroidery was and everything. It was a women's large. I had gotten this in a 99-cent bin. It was listed 10 days and I got an $18 offer on Depop that I accepted. This one sold boosted and I made $13.77. Next was a item I had bought on Whatnot in a show where I paid up for one item thinking it was potentially Jade from Johnny Was because all they said was the brand was Jade and ran really quick. It was not. And then like the show ended and I wound up with this one shirt and I had $11.91 into it, which was scary. The brand was actually called Jade by Melody Tam, which actually wound up being still a good brand. Luckily, it was a really nice piece. It was a women's size large. It had a lot of details to it that elevated it that I was like, okay, I can hopefully make my money back. This one was listed 56 days. I had somebody watch it on my eBay. I sent a 5% off offer for $31.24, which was accepted. So I still made $13.80. So I still was able to over double my money on this one, which I was very thankful for. Next was a very surprising sale. This was something my sister-in-law had given me. A lot of the times my sister-in-laws will do these, like, I want to call them monthly closet cleanouts, where they just give me a trash bag of clothes, and a lot of it gets listed on Marketplace for free because it's nothing worth relisting. This was the brand called First Form, like the number 1 first, and then Form with a PH. I didn't know this brand. I looked it up and there were comps for it. Nothing like out of this world, but I was like, oh, this seems to be a brand that maybe some people do look for in the secondhand market. And it was just a pair of like navy blue bike shorts, easy to list. So these were a size medium. They were listed for 7 days and sold for my full asking price on Poshmark of $23, which I was shocked about. If I listed a pair of like Lululemon biker shorts on Poshmark, they would not sell in a week for a full price of $23. So I don't know. I have no idea anything. I don't know if this was a lucky chance or what, but I wound up making $18.40 on these little biker shorts. Next was another sale of something I had found in the 99-cent bin. This was from Third Love, and this was their t-shirt bra, and it was a 34D.5, which I don't think I've ever seen another brand that makes half cup sizes, which I thought was cool. This one was listed 28 days, and I got an $18 offer on Macari, and I accepted it. That was my first Macari sale in quite some time, and I made $14.65 on this bra. Oh, this one brought me so much joy. This was a vintage sale. This dress was from the brand Scott McClintock. This one was so hard to photograph. I had to like take so many close-ups of just the beauty of this. It was a vintage 90s, I would assume prom dress. It had the top layer was mesh with green velvet burnout, and when like the light hit this green, it was so beautiful. And then like the lining was just the same cut but in black, and it was just so beautiful. I think it said it was like a women's size 8, but I listed it as an extra small. It was very, like, when I took the measurements, it was very small, and it didn't have like a closure. So like it was one that you were gonna have to just like pull over your head, and like there was no zips or anything. This was from a Whatnot show where my average cost of goods was $7.24. And the reason my cost of goods was higher in the show was because this dress I had paid up for. I think I had paid like $10 in the show for this dress. This one was listed for 70 days, and I basically had listed it for like $124.88 or something with like accepting offers, because I've seen Kaylee Elaine say like with certain like dresses, she'll list them for like a higher amount and see like what kind of offers come in. This one was getting a lot of attention, but I hadn't received any offers until this day. Someone had sent me a $99 offer and had written a little message in it that she had been looking for a dress like this in maroon because she had had one and her mom had gotten rid of it, but the green of this one was just so beautiful. Would I accept $99? And I was like, oh yes, 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 yes. This one sold promoted, but after my cost of goods and fees, my profit on this dress came out to $75.84, and getting this vintage dress at new home just makes this craziness all worth it. Next was surprising. I don't find a lot of Maeve tops that sell for a lot, and my mom had found this at a local thrift shop. It was called their lace surf shirt or something. I didn't look it up when she sent it to me. I just said yes because it was a size large, but I had $7 into it. And when I said yes to the $7, I was like, oh, maybe it'll fit me, we'll see. But like when I got it, I was like, this isn't my style. I don't wear lacy sheer shirts. Luckily though, this not only had really good comps, but it sold. It seemed like there was a lot sold, like more sold than listed. This one was listed 5 days and sold on eBay for my full asking price of $39.99. I do not sell a lot of Maeve shirts for $40, so I was excited how quickly this one sold too. It did sell promoted, and I made a profit of $20.32, even though I had $7 into it, which was a relief that it sold fast also. Next was a belt sale. This was one, my dad was like, I went to a yard sale and they gave me a bunch of belts and I only have 80 cents into each belt for you. And I was like, oh, thanks for asking. Thanks for asking, Dad. So this was from the brand Leather Rock, and it was a black suede belt, but it did have a really cool buckle on it. And sometimes I'm like, well, the buckle might sell it. Like I said, 80 cents into this one. This one was listed 2 days and I got a $21 offer on Poshmark and I said, yeah, it's yours. And I made $16 on this belt. Next is another bins find that Scott found, so another credit for him. This was a vintage Y2K Abercrombie & Fitch green polo shirt. I remember everyone with the colors popped with this one. I don't think I ever had an Abercrombie polo. I definitely was only in like the era pastel ones. I definitely would have wanted this though in high school. Like I said, I had $1.27 into each piece. This one was listed 19 days, and on eBay, I received a $24 offer, which I did accept. This one did sell promoted, and I made $17.63. Yeah, honestly, if this was a women's small, if it had been a bigger size, I would have tried to get more probably for it, but as it is, it was already like very fitted, and I was like hopeful that someone would still want one of these polos. Next is another Y2K piece I found in the bins. This one I found though. So Scott found Abercrombie, I found these. These were Hollister micro mini shorts in a size 5. I was so excited they weren't like a 0. I'm gonna guess a 5 is probably a small, I'm gonna guess. But I was very excited to find these. These ones, again, $1.27 into them. These ones were listed 23 days and these sold on eBay for my full asking price of $34.95. These sold promoted and I wound up with a profit of $26.80. And you guys haven't even seen this bins haul yet. It is going to be coming. I'm still getting through the 99-cent bins. And then I think there might be 1 or 2 whatnot hauls before the Goodwill bins. But yeah, a lot of things we found have been selling, which is great. Then I had someone make a bundle on Poshmark, which is always exciting. I feel like no one ever makes bundles on Poshmark, and that always surprises me because when I want to shop on Poshmark, my natural instinct is to bundle because it's one flat rate shipping cost and you kind of get the most bang for your buck. It is what it is. So this bundle isn't a huge profit maker, I will say. However, it got out 3 items that have been sitting in my inventory for over a year. So I was so happy. The first item in this bundle is from Tommy Bahama, and this is a 100% silk short sleeve shirt in a size large. This is not one that I would pick up today because I feel like the Tommy Bahamas that are very plain do not sell well. This one was something my dad had found, I think at an estate sale last year, where his average cost of goods for each shirt was $1.33. This one had been listed 389 days. Next was another Tommy Bahama shirt that was silk, and it was yellow in a size large. Again, this one is a little too plain, just like that red one. This one though, I had gotten at a thrift shop, and for some reason I paid $6.99 for, which was a terrible idea. This one had been listed 404 days. The next item was the only item that was not a long sitting item, and this was something I had found at the Goodwill bins. It was from Life is Good, and it was a coffee little t-shirt that was blue in a size small, and I had $1.27 into this. This one had only been listed 8 days. And the last item in this bundle was another Life is Good shirt, and this was like a patriotic anchor shirt in a size small, and this one I had $3.99 into, hoping last year it would sell for 4th of July, and it did not sell for the last 4th of July or even this 4th of July. And this one had been listed 368 days. So my total cost of goods for the 4 items in this bundle was $13.58. I got a $50 offer on Poshmark, and I was so excited to accept that. After fees, I wound up with a profit of $26.42 and cleared out some very old inventory. Next was a very exciting full price sale on Poshmark. This was from Title IX, and this was a dress that was a size extra small, and it had a very baby doll cut to it. I don't have the best luck selling Title IX dresses for some reason. I have some that have been sitting for quite a while. This one luckily didn't sit too long. I had found this in the winter in a local thrift shop for 99 cents because it had been sitting for so long and made it to their lowest price tag, mainly because it was winter and it was a very summery kind of dress. This one was listed 154 days, but it did sell on Poshmark for my full asking price of $30, so I made $23.01. Next was a Free People dress that I had gotten in a reseller buyout. This was called the Fleur de Jour dress, and it was embroidered. I've never found something so difficult to photograph in my life because it did not fit on a hanger. It's off the shoulder. It's like a very boxy cut, like unflattering to photograph. I was glad that I found a stock image of this one. It was a women's size large, but it was not in the best condition. Like the embroidery, like I think this is an older style, and it's seen some action, this one. I had $4.08 into each piece from this buyout. This one had been listed 65 days and I got a $21 offer, which I did accept, so I made $12.72. Next was an item from a Whatnot show where I did pay up because I think the starts in this show were $8. So my average cost of goods for each piece from this show was $10.20. This was the Ralph Lauren Black Label, and it was a set of paisley printed pajamas in a size medium. These had been listed for 69 days, and these sold in a sale that I had running in my eBay at the time for $27.91. So I made a profit of $11.70. 3 more sales. Okay, so this first item sold pretty quick. This is from the brand BioBay, B-A-O-B-E-I. These were a pair of like maternity biker shorts. They were women's size large. These had come in the ThredUp activewear mystery box. I held off listing them until midsummer because as somebody who was in her second trimester in the summer, you don't really realize that you're gonna need the shorts until you need the shorts. So I was like, nobody's gonna be buying these in March or whenever I did the box. But I was like, middle of summer when you're like, oh no, nothing fits. I need to find something and I don't wanna pay a lot. That's when you go to the secondhand market. I bought a lot of maternity clothes on Poshmark, I remember. And these sold on Poshmark, so I wasn't super surprised. The problem is I had $4.66 into each item, and I've made my money back on the box, but there wasn't enough good stuff in this box to really make it worth ever getting again. This one had been listed 14 days, and I got a pretty low offer, and I countered them, I think, to like 15, and they countered me back to 10, and I was like, you know what, just take them. I made $2.39 on these shorts. Then I made a sale for my younger brother. I do have a few of his things listed. This was a pair of J. Crew gray joggers, but he's very tall, so a lot of his items are like tall length. So I think these were a men's tall large, a tall long or something. These ones were listed 126 days, and I did get a $10 offer on eBay. He said just accept it. It sold promoted. He got $6.65. Then my last sale of the week was a really small sale. This was from the brand Joseph Abound, and I had picked up this cardigan because I'd been hearing at the time that men's like button-up cardigans were selling really well, and this had a good blend. It was mainly cotton, but it did have some silk and cashmere in it, so I more so picked it up for fabric content. I had $4 into it from a local thrift shop. It had been listed 241 days, and I got a $12 offer on eBay, and I said, yep. This one did not sell promoted, and I made $4.96 on this cardigan. So for the week, I had a total of 26 sales for a sales total of $863.86. Probably one of my highest sales numbers of like sales weeks of the summer so far. Then of that, I profited $511.22, which I'm happy with. When I calculate my profit, it is that sale price, and it subtracts out the initial cost of goods, the platform fees, and any postage I paid. My sales breakout was I sold 11 items on Poshmark, 11 items on eBay, so eBay's awake, thankfully. 1 Macari, 2 Depop, no Curtsy, no Etsy, which I haven't had a no Etsy week in a while, no Vinted, no Vestiaire, and 1 Whatnot. My current plan is right now, this current week that I'm filming this, I'm trying to post any remaining like summary items I have. I have a lot in my like to mend pile, which is a little higher than a little more full than I would like. So I'm trying to mend what I can and, you know, work up the energy to do that. But I think starting next week, I'm going to be slowly starting to list some of my fall winter backlog that I have stored in a bunch of bags and just see how it goes from there. So let me know, how is your July looking? And I personally am ready for some crisp fall weather because I am done with 100-degree days and humidity. And I will see you guys next week.